beginning to understand that thinking is so much more important than feeling. And I don't necessarily mean that in the sense that we should just be controlled by our emotions and not by our thoughts, and that we should focus on, how we want to act based on how we feel and not necessarily on what we think is right. But I just mean that in the sense that we almost should prioritize how we feel over how we think. And like I said, I don't mean that in the sense of what controls our actions, but I mean in what controls our mood, in what controls the way that we see the world. I'm really starting to understand that we do have the ability to completely control our thoughts, and we do have the ability to completely control our feeling. Obviously, with some leeway there, given certain medical conditions and things like that. But I'm just starting to understand that it's so much more important to substantiate positive feeling over positive thought. And I think it's important to think positive, and it's important to have an optimistic mindset on whatever you're going into. But I think it's almost more important to feel that positivity, to feel that optimism, and to substantiate those emotions into your daily life. Because I think in doing so, we almost then align ourselves with that positivity. And then over just thinking positive, we end up actually substantiating more of that positivity in our daily lives. It's almost in the sense that thinking positive is like 5%, but then feeling positive is 95%. It's about recognizing how much power our emotions have over who we are, how much power our emotions have over the way that we act and the way that we interact with the world. And regardless of the way that we may think, how we feel is more of a discerning factor than how we think in almost any aspect. So I think it's important to substantiate the feeling of, whatever it is that you want, substantiating that in the present moment, over just simply thinking positive. Because I think so often we end up trying to think positive, but then we have a positive thought, but then we're like, oh no, that's not true. Then, oh no, that's not right. Oh no, that's not really what it is. So almost in the sense that we're trying to convince ourselves of something. But I think that if we substantiate positive thought, if we substantiate positive, not positive thought, positive emotion into just our daily lives, into everything that we do, it's not something that can really be disputed. When I say that you should, or that feeling positive is, overthinking positive, I don't mean in the sense that, you should only try to feel positive, not try to think positive. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that it's almost more influential to feel positive than it is to think positive. It almost has a greater impact on your life. And it's not something that, you can dispute, because when I say that, I really just mean in the sense that you don't need a reason to be happy. You don't need a reason to feel the way that you do. So it's almost about recognizing the ability that we do have to control our feelings and to control our thoughts, and substantiating both of those in a positive way. But I think so often we just hear, oh, think positive, think positive. So we think that there doesn't have to be any emotional backing to it. But I'm starting to understand that the emotional backing is what makes it real. The emotional backing is what substantiates that positivity into our daily lives. It's almost like just thinking positive. Anyone can think positive about anything. You could think anything that you want to. But then feeling positive, it's not something that you can dispute with yourself. It's not something that you can doubt, because it's something that you're actively experiencing, regardless of whether what you think is connected to that emotion is actually here or not. Like I said, I don't think there's any reason, or there needs to be any reason, to experience any emotion. So it's almost like if you want something to happen, if you want a certain result, feeling the positivity of having that result, it's almost about recognizing that just because we tend to connect certain things in the physical world with the way that we feel, it doesn't mean that they have to be connected. And I think part of aligning ourselves with what we want is substantiating the feeling of having what we want. It's about almost not putting those things on a pedestal. It's about recognizing that you could substantiate those emotions at any point in time. And in doing so, we almost then make it less in the air. We make it less ambiguous, less out of reach, and we almost allow ourselves to then just naturally align with paths that will eventually end in that end result. It's about recognizing that, oh, if I want this car, oh, if I want this, I don't know, phone, if I want this, whatever. It's almost about feeling how you would feel if you had that right now. It's about substantiating that emotion to the point that you're no longer, dependent on actually having that thing anymore. Because any feeling that you could get from having it is something that you give to yourself. And, that goes along with the fact that I'm just starting to understand how, like I said, that our feelings and our emotions really dictate almost everything that we do. I think that almost anything that you could want in the world, other than the basic needs that you need to survive, is something that you want because of the feeling that it would give you. And I think that goes for so many things. Oh, I want this phone because then I think I will feel cool when I have it. I want affection from this person because I want to feel validated. Oh, I don't know, I want to go to this certain event because I want to feel energized. I want to feel that presence of being in a group of other people. I think so often we almost tend to not recognize the fact that anything that we do want is something that we only want because of the feeling that it'll give us. Because at the end of the day, that house is just that house, that car is just that car. It's just, a piece of metal, it's just a piece of brick and wood at the end of the day. It doesn't have meaning unless we give it meaning through emotion. So it's almost about recognizing that you don't need that thing physically in order to substantiate the feeling of having that thing in the present moment. You may want a $5 million house, but you're only living in, a 1-bedroom studio. That doesn't mean that you can't substantiate the feeling of having that $5 million house, regardless of your physical surroundings. So I think that to an extent, it's almost about detaching the emotional connection that you have to the physical world. Not in the sense that you no longer feel anything for what happens in the physical world, but in the sense that you're rather substantiating positivity even when the world is showing you negativity. And I think that goes really closely with the Bible verse that I have for this video, which is taken from Colossians 3, verse 1 to 2. And it says, "Since then you have been raised with Christ, set your heart on things above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things." So it's almost about recognizing that the world is here, but that the Spirit is what determines the world that we experience. So it's almost about substantiating the positivity that you want, the positivity that you think is connected to the world, when in reality, it's that the world is connected to the positivity. So I think that if we allow ourselves to experience these positive emotions, to experience the happiness of obtaining whatever it is that we want, then we're almost allowing that thing in the physical to then almost materialize without any effort needing to be put in. The best example that I've been thinking about a lot, and something that I just think about a lot in general, is fitness and, being a healthy person, losing weight, whatever it is. It's almost that you don't become a fit person by just doing exercise and, eating a few calories. You become a fit person by then feeling that you are a fit person. And in feeling that and in substantiating that positive emotion that, oh, I am healthy, oh, I am, accomplished, oh, I already did whatever it is that I seek to do. You then almost allow yourself to do those things naturally. You don't need to force it. Because I think that so often we try to focus on the things of this world, but then oftentimes we end up trying to force it because it doesn't align with our spirit. But I think that if we align ourselves spiritually first, then the things of the world will just happen naturally. It's not something that we need to force. So, I hope you took something from this video. Like I said, I made a lot of videos similar on this topic before, but I just think it's really something important. It's something that I'm just understanding to a greater depth each and every single day. So, yeah, I hope you took something from this video, and thank you for watching.